So, it has been a wild couple of weeks when it comes to video game news and Nintendo Switch 2 news, mostly because we've been waiting for the opportunity to pre-order the Nintendo Switch 2. Of course, I should add the caveat that in North America, we've been waiting for the chance to pre-order the Switch 2 because, of course, I think in most, if not all, other countries and territories and continents, it has been available to pre-order. But in North America, because of messy stuff happening here in the United States, everything got delayed, and it's been a bit stressful for those of us who are game fans and Nintendo fans and really want to Switch 2, which would be me. And so today, finally, Nintendo revealed their secrets. There is a date that we can pre-order the Nintendo Switch 2 in North America, which does include the United States, and Canada unfortunately got roped into our mess down here, and it really stinks. But now we have the date, and it is Thursday, April 24th. Next week, we can finally try to pre-order a Switch 2. I am thrilled beyond belief to finally have this pre-order date. I am very, very excited for the Nintendo Switch 2, but I do still have nerves about trying to get one pre-ordered because typically these situations are a mess nowadays because of bots and scalpers and just the general volume of people who always want to try to get the next big new hot thing in the world of gaming or tech. And I've been dreading this for a long time, is trying to get a Switch 2 pre-ordered. So the situation's unique because of the prices and a lot of people upset about it. Maybe some people will be abstaining for a while. Of course, the tariff situation, even just delaying everything happening here in North America as far as the pre-order dates and all that stuff. But, you know, I'm going to try hell or high water to get one pre-ordered. And I'm going to try to avoid online sites for all the bots and scalpers and everything and do what I can to get one pre-ordered, hopefully in person. Now, of course, there is a little bit of negative news that comes along with this. And maybe you could say a bit of negative news, because they did confirm that the price of the two different versions of the Switch 2 console is the same. They confirmed that they're not changing the price of either Mario Kart World or Donkey Kong, so the two big first-party games we know that already have dates coming out in the next couple of months. However, I'm sure you've already seen this, pretty much every accessory and additional Switch 2 thing that you can buy did go up a little bit in price, clearly to offset what's happening with all this tariff mess and noise happening here in the United States. So obviously I will talk a little bit more about the pricing stuff for accessories in a moment, but I do want to go back and double down on my excitement for the Switch 2 because I know the console is going to be great. Mario Kart World looks fantastic, even though, yes, that Mario Kart World Nintendo Direct clearly did not need to be a Nintendo Direct. It did not need to be live streamed. In my opinion, that was a 15-minute overview trailer, and they've been making like 5-minute overview trailers for their games for many, many years. That's really all that was, but, you know, the game still looks fantastic. I'm very excited for it. So I can't wait for the Switch 2. I can't wait for Mario Kart. Only a month later, the day after my birthday, Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out. That game is going to blow me away. So I am very, very excited for the future of Nintendo and the Switch 2. It's going to be awesome. Also, as I had mentioned, my current plan to try to get one of these pre-ordered is to probably just go in person to a GameStop, you know, or a Target, or I'm probably going to go to the GameStop that's really close to me that I tend to shop at. There is a local retro store that I love, and they carry retro stuff and new stuff, and I buy a lot of retro stuff for them. I'm collecting for my GameCube, my Jaguar, my Genesis. You know, I really need to start collecting for my Sega Saturn pretty soon here. I've been thinking about that. And by collecting, I mean getting games that I also play. I don't just collect to display and have sitting in here. Like, I play my old consoles and my own games. So I love that that store is here. They do carry modern stuff as well as retro stuff. It's fantastic. And I asked them a few weeks ago, I think it was after the Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd, if they were going to be taking pre-orders for Switch 2 consoles, because they usually do sell new games and new consoles. And they had told me, the owner had told me that they don't anticipate being able to get Switch 2 consoles, but all the games and accessories they are carrying and selling. And so, long story short, I'm not going to be able to go to that retro store, so I'm probably just going to go to GameStop next Thursday. Maybe I'll see if I have to get in line like 30 minutes or an hour early, if there's people waiting to pre-order one. I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm going to ask them. And I just don't want to be doing the F5 refresh and looking at apps on my phone and checking, I'm checking the GameStop app, I'm checking the Best Buy app, I'm checking the Target app, I'm checking the Walmart app, blah, 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 blah. Apparently there's no Amazon pre-orders. I don't know if that'll change, but I think as of right now, there's no indication there will be Amazon pre-orders. But I just don't want to do that, man. It sucks. It's so stressful. If I can go and if I just have to wait in line for 30 minutes to even an hour, and I just get to give someone, whatever money to just pre-order the thing, and then I have it, and I know at midnight I can go pick it up in person without waiting for it to arrive in the mail to me, that to me is better. That's how I grew up buying and pre-ordering and owning my consoles and games. And so, anyway, kind of a long personal tangent, but I just wanted to share my plan to pre-order a Switch 2 is exactly that. I'm going to go to GameStop, pre-order it in person, hoping that I can, and avoid the entire online mess, and it should hopefully go fairly smoothly. Also, last thing before I jump into the accessories and the pricing stuff here, I double-checked, because I realized this morning, I was like, I don't really know what the entire launch lineup for the Switch 2 looks like. Obviously, Mario Kart World is the big focus, and Donkey Kong 5 or 6 weeks later is the big focus. And I've been aware of other things like Cyberpunk and the new fast racing game, and I don't know what else. Just a couple of other things. Well, the Zelda Switch 2 edition upgrades, all these things. But I was like, I don't really know what the full lineup is. Like, I probably will want more than just Mario Kart to play on my Switch 2 right away. So I just went to look at the list of games, and I realized that for me, it's not very exciting. The only other game at launch that I want, besides Mario Kart, and again, I'm going to get the upgrades for the 2 Zelda games, so that's whatever, that's $20, I don't care. But they're games I already own and have played. So the only other thing I'm even interested in is the Switch 2 version of Cyberpunk, because it's the complete game, it's got the Phantom Liberty DLC, and they put it on a cart. The entire thing, game and DLC, is all on the cartridge. It's not one of those game key cards, and Cyberpunk is one of my favorite games. I love the game, so I do plan to pick that up for the Switch 2, but I'm probably going to pass on it right now, simply because I do still own that game and Phantom Liberty on the PS5. So it's like, I want it on my Switch 2. I want to support CD Projekt Red. I want to support their decision to be pro-consumer and put the entire game and the DLC on the cartridge and just the quality of the port. But I just don't, need it. So it's like, I don't think that that's really what I care about day one for my Switch 2, because it would just be playing a game I already have. It really is pretty much just Mario Kart for me at this point. So that's fine. I'm excited for that, but I'm really going to be playing Mario Kart and then just waiting for Donkey Kong. And so, let's talk about the accessory situation. Like I said, the 2 versions of the Switch 2, like just the Switch 2 or the bundle with the digital Mario Kart, those prices and the release date, by the way, of June 5th have all stayed the same. It's $450 and it's $500 for the 2 Switch versions. It's all still releasing on June 5th, so nothing was changed or delayed there, which is very, very great to me. Because again, I'm traveling a few weeks after it comes out, and I'm excited to be able to take the Switch 2 with me. So, provided I can even get one. And I'm sure I will be able to get one. So, all that stuff is staying the same, but the other big part to the story, and this does suck, even though I think we understand why it's happening, is pretty much every other accessory, the cameras, the Pro controllers, the carrying cases, the Joy-Cons, blah, 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 they've all gone up in price by a few bucks, which seems like it's offsetting Nintendo's decision to not raise the price on the consoles and their games, which is a smart call, and also probably offsetting whatever is happening with tariffs and inflation and everything. Again, I guess I'm talking all North America, United States, Canada, and these prices are United States dollars prices. That caveat apparently will be important forever now, because people don't understand how currency works. So United States dollars prices for the United States, everything's gone up basically a couple bucks. So this is on Nintendo's website itself, and you can see the Switch, $449, $499. Switches are the same. Mario Kart and Donkey Kong are the same. Now, basically, as far as I can tell, everything went up $5 in price. And maybe one or two things, like maybe like the carrying case or the dock set, maybe those went up $10. So do not quote me. I can't be for sure, but I know that by and large, it's mostly just a $5 increase across the board. And that sucks, man. It blows. Like, I don't like that this is happening. Paying more money for anything sucks. This is already a very expensive venture. Although, video games have always been a very expensive venture. I bought a PlayStation 5 for $500, and I bought an Xbox Series X for $500. And people are buying $500 to $700 Steam Decks and $2,000 PCs. And I mean, what are you going to do? It sucks. The game price for Mario Kart, to me, is definitely the worthy complaint point. But other than that, like, it's expensive to be a gamer. Like, I think most of us know this. I'm also a musician. I'm a drummer. Like, I spend so much money on my musical gear. You know, depending on what your hobbies are, sometimes they cost money. So anyway, that's not the point of this. The point is, they did go up in price by $5 to $10, and it does suck. And I think that on top of a $450 Switch 2 and an $80 Mario Kart World, this is a bad look. And it's, I would even say, for everything I was just mentioning about gaming being an expensive hobby, I still think that overall, a lot of what Nintendo is charging is too much. I do definitely agree with that, and it does not help that they had to raise the prices by $5 across the board. But, you know, so the big thing that people are pointing out is the Joy-Cons, right? The Joy-Cons are now $95, which is insane. $5 extra also for the Pro Controller, which I'm going to buy. That's now $85 instead of $80. $80, I think, is the standard price for like a DualSense and an Xbox Series X, I want to say. Those are either $75 or $80. I've had to buy like 4 Xbox controllers because I keep getting stick drift on my Xbox controllers. No Joy-Con stick drift, no stick drift on my PlayStation 5 DualSense. It's all been on my Xbox controller, so I paid like $80 or whatever for those. Switch 2 Pro Controller went up from $80 to $85, and so... And then, you know, you look at the things like the dock set is now $120. That's a lot of money. The camera went up $5 from $49 to $55. You know, and so that's ultimately what we've seen, man. Everything went up by about $5. So I guess in a sense, maybe I'm different than most people, but the only thing I plan on buying accessory-wise is a Pro Controller and probably a carrying case, just a regular carrying case for the Switch. I don't need the big full carrying case for the dock and all that stuff. I'm not going to move the dock around, but whenever I travel and take my Switch 2 somewhere, which is rare, but it does happen, I just want a carrying case for the Switch 2 itself, you know? So I'm just going to buy a Pro Controller and like a little $20 zip-up carrying case or something for the Switch 2. So when I see the Joy-Cons being sold for $95, I'm like, whoa, that is way too much. That is ridiculous. But I have no need for a second pair of Joy-Cons. What am I going to buy another pair of Joy-Cons for? Like, it's going to come with 2 Joy-Cons. That's all I'm going to need. When my wife eventually gets a Switch 2 for herself, she'll have her own pair of Joy-Cons. That's all I'm going to need. Like, I know in the Switch era, I guess a lot of people were really into collecting Joy-Cons for like the different colors and stuff, which is fine. To each their own. I personally do not care about that kind of thing. The only other Joy-Cons I ever bought for my Switch, to be fair, were the Zelda Skyward Sword Joy-Cons that came out for Skyward Sword. Because it was Zelda, and I just really wanted them, and I love Skyward Sword, and it was very exciting, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to give in one time. They were also really hard to find, and I found a pair in a store. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to buy these. So other than that, I don't need multiple Joy-Cons. I do not care. I don't even care if they come out in different colors. If there are Metroid Prime 4 Joy-Cons, okay, yeah, I'm going to give in and buy those, even if they're $95 flipping, which is outrageous. But it's all a very long way for me to say it sucks that all the accessories went up. It's clearly offsetting Nintendo's decision to not raise the prices on the consoles, like I said. But I only need the damn Pro Controller, so I'm not going to be spending money on the camera and the big carrying case and a new dock and a Joy-Con grip and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, I think the question you just have to ask yourself is, would you rather Nintendo have chosen to raise the price of the consoles by $20, $30, $50 and not risen the price on the accessories? Or do you think that they chose the lesser of two evils by keeping the consoles and, again, the very expensive Mario Kart all the same price, and then just tacked on $5 to all the accessories, which no one person needs every accessory. I think we're all going to need 1, maybe 2 additional things, like I said, and that's it. So, in a world where Nintendo was going to raise the price of anything, which would you have preferred? Personally, I prefer $5 extra to the accessories because all I'm doing is going from $80 to $85 for the Pro controller. And then I'm getting, Switch and the Switch 2 and Mario Kart. And, like, that's all I'm getting on day one. So I'm pretty content with that. It's still going to be a crap ton of money, and it sucks how expensive everything is. But for me, that makes sense because I don't know, man. It sucks. It sucks that everything is happening in such a way that Nintendo is pricing things this way. I think that they were probably planning to charge a lot of these higher prices for the last several years, even before North America and the United States knew what was going to happen with potential tariffs and all this stuff. I mean, the world economy and world inflation has certainly been increasing significantly for years and years. So there's a worldwide problem there economically. Again, as somebody who lives in the United States and knowing that the United States situation impacted a lot of what Nintendo is doing here, I know that that's also part of it, but I kind of think that Nintendo, they got a little bit egotistical with how successful they were in the Switch era, and they probably knew that not only did they have to do some price increases for their overall business model, they might have even planned to increase more than even necessary, simply because they're a little overconfident. And so I think that when we look at the prices for the consoles and the accessories, even before the tariffs, even before the recent price changes, I think Nintendo was already planning on trying to get a little bit more out of everybody because the Switch did so well. And it sucks, man. It's kind of the price of success, I mean, hungry Nintendo is definitely my favorite Nintendo, as a big fan of the Wii U. But, I like it when Nintendo is successful as well. The Wii era was great. The Switch era has been great, And again, you guys know me, I'm an old man, so I grew up playing the NES and the Super NES and the Genesis. So I'm a child of that era. So I remember that version of Nintendo too, but it was very different than, it's just a different industry than what it is today. So anyway, at this point, I'm kind of just rambling about all of this. These are the details. These are my thoughts. I still can't wait for the Switch 2. It's going to be great. I think the $450 price for the Switch 2 is totally fine for me. Yeah, $80 for Mario Kart sucks, and adding $5 to all the accessories sucks. But again, I personally only need one accessory. So if you need to buy 4 or 5 accessories, yeah, you just tacked on like an extra $50, $70 to whatever you would be wanting to purchase, which is crazy. And this whole thing sucks, and it just is terrible. But that's it. Those are my thoughts. Can't wait for the Switch 2. You know what's happening with the accessories. So thanks for listening to me ramble about this stuff, and I'll be curious to hear if you're still planning to pick up a Switch 2, or are you abstaining because it's all too pricey for you. There is no wrong answer. I don't blame anyone who says this is all too much money and not worth it. That's fine. But I'm getting a Switch 2. I can't wait for it. So these are my thoughts. Share your own below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.